I don't have a lot of time as I film this. First thing this morning, time being the opportune word. Good morning. It's 6:06 in the morning. Thursday. Jesus Christ, I was going to say it was Wednesday. Thursday morning, January the 26th, as I film this. I've got to get ready to go to work in just a little while, but I wanted to film a video and share with you guys a couple of things that have been heavy on my heart as of late. Some stories that I'm running across that I think you guys are going to find a lot of interest in, and it's my hope to share them with you in the most entertaining and appealing way that I possibly can. So let's go ahead and get into this. It's been almost 10 days, tomorrow as a matter of fact, since Todd and Julie Chrisley had to turn themselves into federal prison. And what has their time been like thus far? Well, I haven't really looked to see, but I did just run across a story talking about what their first meals, respectively, in prison was like. And folks, I was absolutely shocked and appalled to hear that Todd Chrisley's first meal in prison after turning himself in to begin serving a 12-year prison sentence was, in fact, steak. And I'm not talking about the tube kind. Neither. Todd Chrisley is eating fucking steak in prison. Now, I'm sure he's eating quite a bit of red meat, but we're talking about the chow hall here. Get your minds up out of the gutters. You know, I hear this and I think, man, when I was serving time, back in my day when you had to walk 5 miles uphill both ways to and fro prison, you wasn't eating no steak. Not even if you was working up in the kitchen. Staff wasn't even eating no damn steak. But I don't know because I've never been there, but I have heard the urban legends that state in the federal system and not actually in the state system, you do eat a lot better, especially at these Lowe's and satellite camps, seeming to be exactly where Todd Chrisley is. Did I say Todd Gurley? I surely hope that I didn't get that mixed up. My God. Yeah, so anyways, Todd Chrisley's first meal in federal custody was steak. Sounds fucking scrumptious to be eating while serving time. You better not be going back to your cell or bunk area or wherever you're living at this satellite facility, bitching about being locked up when you are eating for dinner, in fact, steak. Was it T-bone, ribeye, Wagyu? Whatever the case, who the fuck's eating steak in prison? That shit sounds like some Goodfellas type of shit, if you ask me. Julie Chrisley, on the other hand, she ate a chicken cheesesteak. My God. Again, something that, we weren't eating in the state system. Todd's first meal steak, Julie Chrisley's first meal chicken cheesesteak. Remind me if I ever go back to prison, I end up somewhere where them two are. Because though I don't know what their time is like just yet, I'm sure there'll be stories out, if not already, about just that. It certainly seems like where they both are, they're eating pretty damn good. So good for them. Quickly, I want to share another story that I'm just running across dealing with the state of Louisiana. I've talked about this state in previous videos and the fact that, well, at least in the past, they had the highest incarceration rate per capita of any state in the United States, locking up more people per year than any other state. I don't know if that has changed, if California or Texas has taken the lead, or maybe those are strong second and thirds. But I run across a headline that reads, come on phone, load up with your bukkake fucking internet. Gosh almighty, remind me never to get any other internet provider service other than fucking Verizon Fios, which we can't get where I live. Louisiana deliberately indifferent to keeping inmates past release date, Justice Department says. I think we've addressed this before here on AfterPrisonShow, how not only does Louisiana lock up more people per year per capita and all that good jazz, but they also don't give a fuck about your release date. Oh, you supposed to go home today? Where? Maybe in another state, but not here, Stickman. In the good old state of Louisiana, in one of our parishes. Yeah, there was a story, actually a report, expand the article, that stated from January of 2022 to April of 2022, we're only talking January, February, March, April, 4 months, the first quarter of 2022, 27% of people who were legally entitled to be released from state custody, some for minor crimes or first-time offenses, were held past their release date. First-time offenses. Hold on to that. That's going to be important for where we're going. Not in this story, but in the next one. Yeah, so from January to April, 27% of people who were legally entitled to be released, they wasn't, though. 27% is more than a quarter of people. It's more than 25%. Yo, so that is crazy to think that if you ever get locked up down in Louisiana, not only do you got to worry about getting your boots smoked, but you got to worry about if and when you do get a release date, are you even going to get released? And folks, it's not just like we're talking about a couple of days, a day, a couple of hours, not even a week, not even a month, not even 2 months. This story would go on to report, from this report, about 24% of those improperly detained had been held 90 days or longer past their release days. Release days? I would say dates, but I'm no journalist. The Justice Department found. You know, you get federal funding and you get paid per inmate per day from the state, I guess. Maybe that's part the reason why Louisiana is holding prisoners past their release dates, or potentially the other potential reason, they just don't give a fuck. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you that you were supposed to get released 3 months ago. I'll look into it. I'll get back to you. Keep waiting. Grab a Snickers. Hungry? Why wait? Anyways, I wanted to share those first two stories with you guys quickly. Oh shit. Shit, I just spit all over the lens though. Let's get that off right there. There we go. Just wipe you down. Sorry, I didn't mean to get all ASMR-esque. Hey, real quick footnote to all of this. I didn't even mention it at the beginning of this video. I've changed some things up with this, trying to get a more aesthetically a better looking look to this, and also sound. My goodness, one of the last videos that I filmed, if not the last video that I filmed here on After Prison Show, the sound was fucked. And I am working diligently hard to fix that. So hopefully it's sounding a lot better. You guys let me know how it sounds. Does it look better? I hate talking into a microphone that looks like that, because it kind of looks like I'm talking into a penis. I just gotta be honest. I do not like that. I'm getting me a Shure SM7B so that we can avoid talking into the penis. Look, I mean. Folks, there's a bigger story that I want to share with you guys, one that I know you have not heard about. Why? Because it's taking place in my local area, and it kind of got swept under the rug. It was a here today, gone tomorrow type of a story, and I think to myself, why? This is a story that deserves quite a bit of notoriety, but when you think about my local area, notoriety is something that we are certainly not a stranger to. When you think about in my local area, a 6-year-old taking a fucking gun to school, shooting his teacher, the entire school board lying about the situation, saying that they tried to check the student when in fact the student was reported 3 times throughout the course of the day for potentially having a fucking gun at school. Nobody did anything about that. And then the teacher, Abby Zwarner, 26-year-old young lady, hero, got all of her kids out of the classroom and took one for the team, literally getting shot through the stomach and the hand. Could have been killed by this 6-year-old, but undoubtedly saving the lives of her entire class. There was a GoFundMe put together for this young lady, raising over $230,000 last time I checked. They were trying to get $250,000. I'm sure that they've gotten to that. And also she's getting ready to sue the school because they lied. Oh, yeah, we checked the child, and no, you didn't. And he was reported 3 times just that day. A problematic child at that, one in which the parents actually had to go sit in the fucking classroom with the child throughout the course of the day. And on this particular day, the parents didn't do that. Crazy, but that's not the story that I want to talk about here today. This is one that's getting, no real mention. And it's taking place over a year ago and just recently getting attention again because, court would in fact ensue in this particular case. And it involves a bit of a love story. At least the way that I perceive this story to go. Now, there's no real mention of what I'm getting ready to share with you. And in fact, what I'm getting ready to share with you is my plausible take on the situation. Before we actually get to the actual situation, it involves, at the time, a sailor, a Marine, a Navy guy, not a Marine. I think he was a Navy guy. Might have been, he's Navy. It involved a sailor, a Navy guy, and a young lady, who doesn't really look so young when you see her mugshot. I'm sure life has whooped her ass, it actually appears. Now, I'm not sure how these two got together because when you see these two, they don't really look like they would go together. Sort of like vodka and milk. But Joe, have you never heard of a White Russian? Good point somebody would actually make when I mentioned that previously. You got this Navy guy and you got this other person, this lady, who looks like she has lived quite the street life. You ever seen that video on TikTok or any other social media where them two women are trying to talk to the kids on the bicycles about the street life, and the one girl's like, the streets killed me. You ever seen that? The streets killed me. That's sort of like what this chick, Heather Toddy, looks like. In fact, let's just go ahead and show her right here. Heather Toddy, folks, looks like she has done every drug under the sun. I'm not trying to be so judgmental, but isn't judgmental what we do here? Let me introduce you to Heather Toddy. Again, this potentially young lady right here. And also this feller, Jason Jablonski. Now, maybe it was through Tinder or Plenty of Fish or Bumble or Snapchat or Facebook dating. Hell, I don't know that these two would become acquainted. Maybe it was at a bar, a dive one. Heather Toddy actually looks to frequent when she's not in prison. Again, being so judgmental here. Anyways, Jason Jablonski and Heather Toddy were in a bit of a relationship. Now, I'm not sure if they were dating, if this was true love, if this was his soulmate. But what I gather from this story, just from mere looks alone, and the fact that Heather Toddy looks like she is about that life for real, and Jason Jablonski was in the fucking Navy. I hate to cast stones here, but I will. It certainly looks like Heather Toddy was not the sort of young lady that you bring home to meet mom. My goodness, where did you meet her, Jason? Behind the fucking 7-Eleven? But mom, I love her though. She's the one. Yeah, it certainly looks like, if we're going to base this merely on pictures alone, that Heather Toddy certainly was bad news for old Jason Jablonski. And again, there's no factual information to this. I'm literally just trying to piece together how these two came to be and what the situation might have been between them. But it's probably a little bit deeper than that, because what this story circulates around is a crack bender and murder. Sort of like a Dateline mystery. Are we going to do another After Prison show? Dateline exclusive? This would be the story. Let me go ahead and share with you the the headline of this, and it's going to give away so much of what we're actually talking about here. Former Navy sailor sentenced for killing a Virginia Beach man with a fucking dumbbell. I hate to get right to the point like that. You know, I really like to build it up, try to give you as much backstory as possible. But yeah, that's what this story is about. So over a year ago, or maybe it was about that, the story first broke of this Navy sailor who was on a crack bender with a one Heather Toddy, who certainly looks like she's about that life. If we're going to just call apples here, it doesn't look like from pictures alone that Jason Jablonski knows where to get the crack rocks at, but certainly Heather Toddy does. Oh my God, Joe, are you really saying that? I am, actually. I'm judging this book completely based upon the cover, the mug shots. Some kind of a way, Jason met Heather, and it was bad news from the start. Maybe they met over a drink. Hey, can I buy you a drink? I hope it's got a crack rock in it, Heather would respond. What you talking about? Crack rocks? I've never heard of those, nor seen those. Heather saying, hey, wait, let me call Little Dickstein. Let me get those. And Stickman, I'm about to show you the most wild time of your life. Do you got a bank account? You do. Hey, go ahead and send that. Heather Toddy found the right one being Jason. And unfortunately for Jason Jablonski, that one night at Cheetah's, it's actually the name of an old strip club in my local area. I never had been there. I was just trying to think of the most divey thing that I possibly could. And one particular night at Cheetah's, Jason most certainly met the wrong one. When Heather made that phone call to Little Dickstein and introduced him to the dark side, literally. Yeah. I don't know if Jason Jablonski was really fucking with the crack rocks prior to meeting Heather. Or maybe it was vice versa. Maybe Heather was the good girl and Jason was the bad boy, even in the Navy. Can Navy sailors smoke crack rocks and go on crack benders? Aye, Captain. Reporting for duty. What am I here to do again? I'm in the Navy? Jaw in left field and shit during the Pledge of Allegiance or whatever they do first thing. I don't know. And where I live at, you've got the shipyard, and at like 7 o'clock every morning, you would hear the national anthem playing. And sailors would, stand at attention and salute the flag for that. I can imagine Jason Jablonski doing something similar on whatever ship he was stationed on. Jaw in left field. Aye, Captain. Reporting for duty. Whatever the case may be, whoever introduced who to crack rocks, it was a bad idea, especially for Jason. Because there would end up being another party involved in this. A person, unfortunately, by the name of Herbert Bryant, 45 years old. Now, maybe they were doing a three-way call that night. Hell, I don't know. Maybe it was some sort of a Nicki Minaj-toi. Nicki Minaj. But on March 11th, 2022, at the Eastwick Village Apartments in Virginia Beach, residents found a man lying face down in a breezeway and called police. I think to myself, I paint apartments, I go through breezeways all day long. You know, how crazy would it be and also unfortunate, to stumble across something like this. Herbert Bryant, 45 years old, lying face down in a apartment hallway, breezeway area, and he was dead. And not just dead from his heart exploding from smoking crack, but dead because he was bludgeoned to death with a fucking dumbbell by one Jason Jablonski. Now, how does a man in the Navy become so violent? How did he know Herbert Bryant, 45 years old, or even Heather Toddy, for that matter? Like I said, they were probably all smoking crack together. The way that I pieced this story together is maybe Herbert smoked the last crack rock. Have you ever smoked crack? Weed. From that movie Half-Baked. Upon investigating, police charged Jablonski with second-degree murder and Heather Toddy with accessory to murder after the fact. Jablonski got into a fight with Bryant the night prior while on a crack bender. Documents say Jablonski beat Bryant with a dumbbell and then pushed it down on his neck until he stopped moving. Second-degree murder? For all that? Holy shitballs. You got off just based upon the charges that they gave to you. Now, a couple of things to mention real quick. Jason Jablonski had no previous criminal history. He was, in fact, in the Navy, and it can happen to the best of them. Navy guys are all over Plenty of Fish and Tinder looking for the right one. Unfortunately, Jason found the wrong one in one Miss Heather Toddy and ended up on a crack bender. Herbert Bryant was just there, part of this Nicki Minaj a trois, whatever the situation was. In some kind of a way, it was the crack rocks that put the dumbbell in Jason Jablonski's hand for him to, in fact, begin beating the dog shit in life out of Herbert Bryant, killing him. Potentially because he smoked the last crack rock out of Heather Toddy's Junie cheeks. Jaw gone, blown off his face, proverbially speaking, from the crack smoke. You know, I'm making jokes about all of this, but there's nothing funny about the fact that this guy got beaten to death by another guy. Fuck the fact that he was in the Navy and had no previous criminal history. You got bludgeoned to death because of this dude who was on a crack bender. To make matters even worse, they charge this dude with second-degree murder. Joe, it's not first-degree murder. It could be aggravated fucking murder, which does, in fact, carry a more lengthy prison sentence than second-degree murder, which in my state carries a minimum of 5 years, maximum of 40. Funny that second-degree murder in another state such as California starts off with a minimum of 15 years. Oh, excuse me, correction. I need to correct this. Initially, Jason Jablonski was charged with second-degree murder. He pled guilty or something, and those charges were then reduced to voluntary manslaughter. Now, I want to say this. You got no criminal risk. You got no criminal history. You're a Navy guy. Hey, look, you were on a crack bender. This isn't you. You would have never done this under normal circumstances, but you did. You smoked the crack, which put the dumbbell in your hand, which caused you to bludgeon a man to death. And for that, the line you crossed was real, and the shit you did was illegal. They charged this dude initially with second-degree murder. He pleads guilty. They dropped that down to manslaughter, voluntary manslaughter. Was it voluntary manslaughter? Yes, voluntary manslaughter. And just this past Tuesday, this guy was sentenced and received a 10-year sentence with 4 years and 4 months of that being suspended. And he's going to serve 5 years and 8 months in prison. 5 years and 8 months in prison for bludgeoning a man to death with a fucking dumbbell, holding it down on his throat to make sure that he's really dead, and then dragging his ass out into the breezeway because you was probably attempting to get rid of the body, but you was so cracked out, twacked out of your mind, that you probably would have been better suited to wait till nighttime to do this, but you probably did this in the middle of the day. Somebody walked by like, that's a dead guy. What the fuck is going on here? Call the cops. 5 years and 8 months you get for this. I served 7 fucking years for a piss-ass quarter ounce of cocaine and a firearm as a non-violent offender. I served more time than you did for a crime way more heinous, that of which you did. I just don't understand how this makes any sense at all. I also think to myself, where is the family of Herbert Bryant? Damn, I hate when I got to stop because the battery died, but I've already been filming for too long is what this is telling me. Sorry. Did Herbert Bryant have any family at all? Anybody advocating for him? It certainly would seem not the case. Maybe there's more to the story that we don't know. Maybe it was Herbert Bryant who attacked Jason. Who the fuck knows? The fact of the matter is, the way that I perceive this is you're saying that it's okay. This is what the courts are telling me. It's okay to murder a guy when you're on a crack bender. It's justifiable. I don't buy that. I don't like that. Not only did you murder a guy, it's not like you were high as fuck driving the car, crashed the car. That's a little bit more I don't even want to say understandable, but plausible to receive a 5-year, 8-month prison sentence. What this dude did was fucking heinous, right? This was a really fucked up murder. This is some shit. This is how people die in prison, getting bludgeoned to death by dumbbells. You think anybody's going to fuck with this guy when he gets to where he's going? Do you think that he regrets everything that he's ever done in his life at this point, sitting in his prison cell right now? Like, holy shit, I don't even remember none of this. How could you forget something like that? Jason Jablonski, Navy guy, ex-Navy at this point, receives 5 years, 8 months for bludgeoning a man to death with a fucking dumbbell, holding the dumbbell to his throat, pressing down on that, dragging his body out into the hallway. Heather Toddy would receive a year in prison with 6 months suspended for accessory. The documents say that Toddy then helped to drag Bryant's body outside and attempted to clean up the scene. You gave this dude voluntary manslaughter. You know, first degree is premeditated. Aggravated murder is whatever aggravated murder is, certainly sounding a lot like what Jason Jablonski did. Voluntary manslaughter is you kind of meant to kill somebody, but there's a good excuse for it, right? And then you're attempting to clean up the scene. So this is how I get conflicted on how this is not first degree or aggravated murder. Aggravated for the heinousness of the charge is absolutely what this should be. This dude should be doing fucking life. Like, I don't care. But Joe, he was on crack though. It ain't no excuse in my opinion. And then, like, first degree murder, premeditated. You meant to do this. Now, whether or not it was the crack that made you do this and you didn't really mean to do it, you wouldn't do it in your sober mind. The fact that you're trying to get rid of the evidence, clean up after the fact, kind of makes the thing full circle to go back to, hey, you know, you kind of got to look at the premeditated side of this again, in my opinion. I could be completely wrong, folks. This is just a story that I wanted to bring you up to speed on, one that you probably don't hear about all that often. Navy guys getting wrapped up with the wrong girl. Oh, Joe, that happens all the time. Goes on a crack bender with her. Hey, you ever heard of crack rocks? Oh, nah, but I'll try it, though. For you, girl, I'll do anything. Really? Really? And how right he was in that statement to her, if, you know, he made a statement like that. Hey, look, that's it. I just wanted to share these stories with you guys. I hope this was a video that you enjoyed, even though it was kind of horrific. I hope it looks good, feels good, sounds good. You guys let me know. I'm going to look forward to sharing a lot more with you guys as often as I possibly can. But as I wrap this video up, I got to get ready to go to work. So again, hey, look, that's it. I hope this was a video you enjoyed. And if it was, please leave a like and a comment letting me know exactly what you thought about all that I shared with you in this. As always, until next time, enjoy life, the free world. Never take a moment for granted, nor ever smoke crack rocks with some crack whore that you met at some dive bar just looking to score. And make the most of every day. Peace!